Pagan Origins of Christmas, Part 1. Child Human Sacrifice to the Sun God. Now the God of the Bible hates the shedding of innocent blood. Innocent blood refers to children. God has no pleasure in the death of people or their destruction. God said in His Word to choose life, not death. Notice Proverbs 6:16 through 19. These 6 things doth the Lord hate. Notice it didn't say dislike, it says hate. Remember, God is love, and here these 6 things love hates. Yea, 7 are an abomination unto Him, or the 7th is the main abomination unto Him. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. So the shedding of innocent blood. The roots of Christmas was child sacrifices to the sun god, the S-U-N, sun god. All right, let's get more into the scriptures. Notice now Isaiah. Well, actually, I'm jumping the gun. Let's go to Amos, then we'll go to Isaiah. All right, Amos 5, we'll read verse 15, 21, and 23. It says, hate the evil, again, hate the evil, and love the good, and establish judgment in the gate. It may be that the Lord of hosts will be gracious unto the remnant of Joseph. And Joseph, his 2 sons got the name Israel. Drop down verse 21. The Lord says, I despise your feast days. I will not smell of your solemn assemblies. All right, the Lord hates Joseph's feasts and holy days. So the Lord hates. Okay, so I'm not going to get into much detail on this. Read the book, The United States and Britain in Prophecy, for more information. But Israel is referring to the 2 nations of Joseph, Britain and the United States, whereas the Jews in the Middle East, although they call themselves Israel, scripturally they're Judah. And I'm not going to get into that. I'm staying with the child human sacrifice. So keep in mind, the Jews keep God's holy days outlined in Leviticus 23. Passover, unleavened bread, Pentecost. It's true they do it in their own way, but they still keep them. So why would God hate Joseph or Israel's holy days if they were keeping his? See, that's more proof that the Jews in the Middle East aren't Israel. Scripturally, Israel against Britain and the United States that are now in the ways of Babylon. All right, let's see. The Lord hates Joseph's feasts and holidays. Now we can go to Isaiah chapter 1, verses 13 and 14. It says, bring no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination unto me, because they were doing it to pagan gods. The new moons and Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with. It is iniquity, even the solemn meeting. Your new moons and your appointed feasts my soul hateth. So the Lord again hates Israel's new moons or months and Sabbaths or pagan holidays, because it's all based on the sun, the Roman. Like Bible prophecy says, Rome continues to rule the earth until the very second coming of Jesus Christ. So God hates the pagan holidays that Israel keeps. Notice verse 23, though, of Amos 5. We didn't cover that. All right, where's Amos again? Amos 5:23. This is where God calls the Christmas music noise. And in today's vernacular, he basically says, get that crap out of here. Verse 23. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melody of thy vowels. So people call it music. God calls it noise. And get that Christmas crap out of here, because it's paying tribute to the pagan deity, the perverted mother and child that was an incestuous relationship in the original Babylon. All right, in Old Testament times, people gave their firstborn son to a pagan deity called Molech, or Baal. Baal, how it's actually pronounced, but Baal, so you know what I'm talking about. And both of these names, Baal and Molech, were alternative names for Nimrod. It always goes back to Nimrod Semiramis. If you study ancient history and their gods, they always had a male deity and a female deity. And the names varied from nation to nation, time period to time period, but they were all variations or different names given to Nimrod and Semiramis. It always goes back to ancient Babylon with the Christmas tree, with Christmas. It all goes back to there. All right. But it was first recorded, other than the Bible, in Egyptian history and stuff. But they worship the same god and goddess under different names. So notice Leviticus. We're going out of Leviticus 18. And we'll read verse 21. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. And now chapter 20, verse 2. Again, thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourneth in Israel, that giveth any of his seed unto Molech, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. So those were a few showing human sacrifices, child sacrifices specifically, given to a pagan deity called Molech. And we're going to go to a couple more scriptures to show you the same thing was done to a deity named Baal later in the Bible. We're going now to Judges chapter 2, verse 13. And this explains more of what I elaborated on earlier. There's always a male deity and a female deity. And verse 13. And they forsook the Lord, and they served Baal, being Nimrod, and Ashtaroth, or his mother Semiramis. And just so you know, Baal just means master, or Lord, one whom you obey. So for this world, Satan is their Baal, or master, or Lord, the one whom they obey. That's why the Bible calls him the God of this world. All right, now look at Judges chapter 6. Then we'll read verses 25 and 28. All right, verse 25 from the beginning. And it came to pass the same night that the Lord said unto him, Take thy father's bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that thy father hath, and cut down the groove that is by it. Notice that, the groove that is by it. Verse 28. And when the men of the city arose early in the morning, behold, the altar of Baal was cast down, and the groove was cut down by it. And the second bullock was offered upon the altar that was built. So again, Molech and Baal were other names given to Nimrod. Baal is Nimrod, Ashtaroth, Semiramis. So sons and daughters, quote, passing through the fire, unquote. That term, passing through the fire, means sacrificing their child in the fiery arms of Baal or of Molech. So Baal or Molech, it depends. At times, Baal was represented, excuse me, as half man, half bull. And you know what kind of bull it is, or even as an owl. That's how those in Bohemian Grove worship. And grove, or the groves, that always had evergreen trees. Where they sacrificed the children, there are always evergreen trees there. Okay, the high places of Baal were always located in grooves of evergreen trees. This is where the children would be sacrificed. And that's the reason that the Christmas colors are green and red. Green for the evergreen trees, and red for the children's blood splattered on them to the pagan deity who demanded human sacrifice. So notice Deuteronomy now. Deuteronomy chapter 12. We'll read verses 1 through 4. These are the statutes and judgments which ye shall observe to do in the land which the Lord, the God of thy fathers, giveth thee to possess it, and all the days ye live upon the earth. Ye shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which ye shall possess serve their gods, upon the high mountains, and upon the hills, and under every green tree. The term every green tree, better translation is evergreen tree, and because it was green year-round. So the ancients mystified it and thought this tree had some special powers or something, because it didn't die like the others. And you'll see where that comes into play later in this video. And ye shall overthrow their altars, and break their pillars, and burn their groves with fire. And ye shall hew down the graven images of their gods, and destroy the names of them out of that place. Ye shall not do so unto the Lord your God. Now verses 29 and 30. Or 29 through 31. And when the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee, whither thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them, and dwellest in their land, take heed to thyself. See, not to thy neighbor, take heed to yourself, that you be not snared by following them being the pagans and their customs. After that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods. See, their gods were born the 25th of December, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Or in other words, I'm going to take a pagan tradition and worship a God of truth with it, like people try to do with Christmas. Notice the next verse. Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God, for every abomination to the Lord, which he hateth, have they done unto their gods. Specifically, for even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods. What things soever I commanded you, thou observe to do it. So they were, thou shalt not add hitherto, nor diminish from it. So you take the word of God as it is. And here they were sacrificing their children to the fires of Molech in the evergreen trees at the time of the winter solstice, that today is called Christmas. So I'll close this video by reading from The Plain Truth About Christmas, Mr. Armstrong's original. All right, he says, Nimrod, grandson of Ham and son of Noah, was the real founder of the Babylonish system that has gripped the world ever since. The system of organized competition, of man-ruled governments and empires based upon the competitive and profit-making economic system. Nimrod built the Tower of Babel, the original Babylon, ancient Nivea, and many other cities. He organized this world's first kingdom. His name Nimrod in Hebrew is derived from marad, meaning he rebelled. From many ancient writings, considerable is learned of this man who started the great organized worldly apostasy from God that has dominated this world until now. Nimrod was so evil it is said he married his own mother, whose name was Semiramis. After Nimrod's untimely death, his so-called mother-wife Semiramis propagated the evil doctrine of the survival of Nimrod as a spirit being. She claimed a full-grown evergreen tree sprang overnight from the dead tree stump, which symbolized the springing forth unto new life of the dead Nimrod. On each anniversary of his birth, she claimed Nimrod would visit the evergreen tree and leave gifts upon it. December 25th was the birthday of Nimrod. This is the real origin of the Christmas tree. And eventually I think it was the 5th century, Santa Claus came to replace Nimrod as the one leaving the gifts under the tree. So we'll get into that. Coming up December 6th is the Eve of St. Nicholas. So there'll be a special upload on that video. It won't be a regular Friday video. It'll be uploaded during the middle of the week, whatever day it is. So that's what ties into giving gifts at Christmas too. You'll see in that video. So this is, again, just part 1 of the pagan origins of Christmas, child human sacrifice to the sun god.
What are you waiting for? Christmas?